So, I have my car association collection thingy here and my image down here. There you go. But I want my image to be on the right and for the text to wrap around it. So let's create a new CSS style. To do this, I'm just going to open my CSS Designer panel, and I can do that by going Windows, CSS Designer. If it's docked over in on the right hand side, which Adobe made it that way, it may look like this. And what happens is then everything's all stacked up and you can't see properties way down here, but there's a lot of properties going on. So what I'm going to do is I make it wider, and then my properties pops up here to the side, which is very handy dandy. Now I just know for a fact that I have way more selectors than this down here, because if I go into my code, well, I can see I've got all of these CSS selectors up in here that aren't showing up here. Header, wrapper, body. But if I click Style under All Sources, then all of the CSS selectors that are already set show vividly. And by clicking from one to the other, then I can see all of the properties associated with those individual selectors. So, but anyway, I'm just going to click this one, and what we want to do, I'm going to go back into design mode. Here's my image. What we do is I'm going to click this style thingy, and then I'm going to click this plus sign right here for add a selector. Okay, so I click that, and Dreamweaver just wants to put something in here, and I'm not going to talk about that, but I want to create a floatRight selector. So what I do is I put in a period, and then I type floatRight, just like that, floatRight. And it's very important to put the period in front of floatRight. And then I hit Enter on the keyboard or Return on the Mac. And now I'm seeing my properties for floatRight right here. And if I come over here under Position, you can see floatRight here, and I click this little doohickey. Bing! And now we're floating right. It's that simple. Now, we've created the floatRight CSS selector rule, but now we have to apply it. So if I click my image and go here in our Properties panel, come to Class, come down here to floatRight, bing! There you go. Now, it's a little messy here. We can see text going over the image, but that's not going to happen in the web page. Just so that we can see what's really going on, all we have to do is click our Live button, and that's very good. It shows us what's going on in the page. I'll turn Live off, and we have a bunch of... We're really tight. I like for there to be more room around my image, so I might bring up my CSS Designer panel, and if I can't see it, I go to Windows CSS Designer. And from there, I don't see floatRight here, so I'll go up here and I'll click Style, and I'll come down here and I'll click floatRight. Now here it shows me margins, and of course margins are outside of my image, so all I have to do is here's the top margin. I might select pixels and click right on this preset 0, and maybe I'll put 15 in there and go over here maybe to the left and put 15 in there, and you can see the image starting to move around over there. 15 over there. I'm going to leave the right empty. I just click away to let it know that I'm done. But if I drag the designer panel out of the way, now I have some nice space there. So there you go. Now, notice this image down here. Well, it's over here on the left, but I want my text to wrap around it. So let's make another style. So I just come up here, and once again I'm just going to click the style thingy right here. And if I don't click the little style thingy, then these may not do what I want them to do, because I want to be able to click here and for some options to show up down here at the bottom. At the very bottom, I'm going to type in dot float left. And that's it. I hit enter or return. And over here, I'm going to click left. And I'm done. Let's drag this up so you can see that I actually did that. Float left, float right. And now I can drag that down and out of the way, select my image, and I can choose float left. And there's my text is wrapping appropriately around it. Of course, we want to make some adjustments to the margins, so I click my little style doohickey, and can't see it, so I'll come down here. I'll click on float left. Here are my margin options, and for the top, I'm going to put in 15. On the right, I'm going to put in 15. You can see my image moving around, and just for the heck of it, for the bottom, I'll put in 15. And there we go. Float left, float right. And if I get rid of that panel, well, maybe I change my mind next week and I want this image to float left. So I can select it, go over here, go to float left, and there it goes. And I can take this one and float right, and there it goes. It's a friendly, friendly world.